Okay, everyone, welcome back to Sunset Falls. Let me tell you, it has been a journey to get back here. So, a few things have happened. First of all, I've recorded this video at least twice. Long story short, it turns out that when I was doing some experimenting for our suspended monorail, the last episode here, you'll notice it's not here anymore. And the reason it's not here anymore is because when I was doing that experimentation, I unlocked all of my progression milestones to be able to put a few things in. And unbeknownst to me, there's actually no way to undo that. So my experimentation branch became the regular branch for this Let's Play, and unfortunately, it unlocked everything, and I wasn't able to fix that. So I made the tough but executive decision to actually pull that back in, so that we can, in fact, still go through progression the normal way in this game. You'll notice it here. It's especially prevalent in the industries area of the game, but also in transportation, in terms of some of the larger hubs and other kind of flight and train areas. So I think we'll have to do a little bit of cleanup work. I'll have to go back and do a few things over again, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. I've already done a few of those things, so I did actually go through here and clean up that little grid that we put in here just to hit our 9,000 residents. You'll notice our residence count is lower right now. I'm also going to turn that off really quickly. We're going to go back here and do this grid probably next episode because we need a few more people to unlock some more public transportation options. And then I went also over to Autumn Square and I put back in not only our police station, but also our elementary and high schools because we did talk about that last time and wanting to have those there. So today we're actually going to make this a little bit more of a mini episode again and focus less on kind of replacing everything and more so just on our industry space prior to doing something a little bit more major. So let's come over here, and what I immediately want to start doing is rearranging where some of these things are so we can put in some worker barracks because we just hit the second level here. And I'm going to there we go, get our industry road here, actually bring this road out just a little bit and then over a little bit too. And then we can put our ore industry main building back over here, kind of right above, which I like. And we're also going to take Empire Street here and just kind of straighten it out a little bit. It was just a little aggressively curvy, which is, sometimes good for roads, give them a little bit of character. But in this case, we wanted to build some barracks along here, and I think we're going to need this to just be a little bit straighter there for those to work out. Cool. And we can actually go ahead and start the game on too, so not that big of a deal. Awesome. I don't know where these people are walking to. They're going to... That is going to be quite a walk, ma'am. You know that there's a bus that comes up here, right? I'm not quite sure her thought process there, but more power to you. Okay, so the other things that we're going to do over here are expand on our industry space with the new things that we have, which are the small ore mine, which is underground, and some new factories, right? So I think the first thing we want to do is move one of these. I'm just going to move a few of these down here, to be honest with you, and we'll work on those eventually. But I think we want to put a few of these new ore mines, these smaller ones, up here. These are really cool looking. They go kind of straight into the ground here, and they kind of fit pretty well with what we're trying to accomplish here. That being said, I do want to actually put a little bit of rock around them to blend them into the mountain a little bit better. So I'm actually just going to search for rock. I know these work pretty well, and you can kind of see what this looks like. Turn on our anarchy here and see if we can just kind of get some rough rock, rubble here almost. Just kind of scattered. Oh, that's way too big. Oh, that's still too big. Just kind of get some of that rough rock scattered in there to kind of give this a little bit more character. Still giving me the conflict there. Let's put in this. Here we go. Get a little bit more of that. Just kind of like cover up that first entrance to the cave. Make this kind of feel like it's integrating a little bit better with that mountain, right? Let me know if you think this looks terrible. We can sort it out. But hopefully that helps blend that transition a little bit because that can be a little bit rough, right? And then we're going to take these. I think let's just square them up. Actually, let's turn anarchy off and square them up to the best of our ability along this road. I do believe we're going to have to go back and change a little bit of how our electricity is working. So bridge that there, and then potentially take this right here and bridge that right there. So now we hopefully are getting electricity around to the rest of our stations here, or rest of our areas. Okay, and again, here I'm much less concerned about the resource production, more about the workers. So that's going to play into our need to have more workers in this space as well. You'll see our residential demand is sky high. We will take care of that shortly, but not immediately. Okay, so I think that's upset about our bus. Yeah, so let's go back to our bus stops here. Okay, and they've all sorted themselves out. So I think we're do we really want them looping there? I guess that'll be okay. We'll see. Hold up. Can we actually change that? If we grab this, can we drag this stop, move it just kind of right here, I think there. And let's also drag this stop and move it right across from there. And then finally drag this stop, move that like right there. There we go. So at least they're all kind of stopping in the same general area, right? Okay, so now let's go down here and let's rearrange this a little bit. So first things first, let's move this recycling center. I'm actually just gonna put it, well, that space is already occupied, huh? Let's put it on this side of the road. I don't love that. Actually, I really don't love that. Let's move that over here instead. But let's tackle this space. First of all, this is almost 92% full of ore, so we're gonna have to do something about that. But first, let us work on kind of larger storage concerns. So thankfully, we do have this huge, I don't know why it keeps pulling up just random things over there, whatever. We have this huge warehouse here that I think we want to place down probably like right there. And that's going to hold a ton of stuff for us. I'm actually going to run an industry road right behind it here. And let's actually put down a few more of these small warehouses as well. And notice how I'm putting them specifically along here. I'm actually going to scooch this one down a little bit because we want the entrances to be along this side road versus our kind of main thoroughfare here, right? Okay, so let us set for this. We're just going to set zoned industry ore products here. Over here, we're going to set glass on this one and metals on this one, right? And then this one, we'll just keep, it says none. I think let's just go back to unique factory products, maybe kind of a catch-all, right? Or actually, no, we can put, can we actually put ore in this? We'll just put ore products, right? Just in case. No, we don't need ore. I take it all back. Take it all back. Okay, let's pause this really quick actually and throw a little bit of water in here. I think, yeah, there's just something odd about that one building, its placement. Okay, and then we'll go across there too. All right, so let's move a few of these as well. I think we want to put this, maybe put a few of these in here. Just kind of move them out of that space a little bit. And then let's actually tighten this road up, I think. To go just kind of right along the front there. I'll bring that up there. Cool. All right, so then up here, these do need some more raw materials. We can fix that. But something I want to show you that's really, really cool about this is this new mod that came out recently that's called Building Spawn Points. This is by the same guy who's done the fantastic node controllers, and intersection line detailing, or whatever that's called. What is that called? Intersection marking tool, sorry. So he's done it again. He's come out with this awesome new spawn point controller. So you'll notice that, see when I hover over this, you see that little white dot there? Check this out. If I add a new point, I'm gonna add cargo trucks here, and I'm gonna remove it from here. I've now set a new point for where cargo trucks will spawn and unspawn on this asset. So you see it's in the middle right now. If I start scrolling on Z, I can slowly add units. I can even hold control to scroll by less of a unit, or hold shift to scroll by 10. But I'm actually going to scroll Z and I'm going to scroll X. I'm going to move this right to the door, right? Kind of where it makes sense to have cargo trucks go through in the first place. So now let's see, let's wait a second. And pull this back up actually so we can watch it and then speed this up. See if we can find a cargo truck that's going to go in or out of here and actually use that door where we expect to see it, right? All right, there we go, right there. That cargo truck immediately spawned right through that door. So it's a really cool control that we can get over where our cargo trucks are moving. And this is just one example, right? What we can do really easily is also apply this to every single building of this type. So if I hit yes here, check this out. Now I go to this one over here. It's already applied that to this one. So that's really helpful on something like these, right? But what if we take something like this massive large warehouse? If you look at its spawn point, it's literally right there. It doesn't make any sense, right? It's just on the side of the road. What if we added another point, added the cargo truck here, and removed it from there, right? So now let's say, okay, so we got our cargo truck. Oh, whoops, sorry, it spawned in the middle here. So let's bring it over, oops, just over a little bit, and up a little bit. We'll go up one more, and over a little bit. All right, so yeah, I think that's good. Why is there a rock in the middle there? I don't know if we can get to that. Yeah, let's delete that rock. Okay. But if we come back here, all right, so we have our spawn point for cargo trucks. It's right there, right? We can actually see perfect amount. Our truck just brought cargo over there. they drop it off. What's really cool about this is, look at this. The trucks, not only are they going to the right place, and like, yeah, it's not perfect, right, to turn around, but not only are they going to one of our cargo doors, but this also gets them off the road. So these trucks aren't actively blocking traffic at this spawn point, right? Because that can be a real problem. So we're actually also going to take this spawn point, move this over a little bit, and then move it back a little bit, just so it's not bothering everyone else on the road when we have hearses or fire trucks or whatever come in here. But the other cool thing we can do about this is we can duplicate this point for this cargo truck. And now, check this out. We're gonna just scroll over a little bit. There we go. See how we moved that other spawn point? So now cargo trucks will just randomly use either of these spawn points. You're seeing both of them are starting to be used, right? So now let's just keep doing it, right? We can just keep going, and we're going to be able to actually get all of these doors to be used appropriately by these trucks. And you can kind of see them. They're chasing around our spawn points as we go through here. Oops, I think I just moved one. There we go. So it's a really neat way to actually get your assets to be fully used. And especially when it comes to things like shipping logistics or industry logistics, I think this is going to be a huge, huge game changer. So, I mean, for something like this is nice because you only have to do this one time, right? As soon as we do this again, as soon as we do this once, we can then apply these changes to every other building rather of this type, and we won't have to go through and do this again, which is really nice. So you only have to set this up once for each of your building types. But two, this is going to be really helpful for any sort of import and export logistics, which we know, I'm sure everyone who's played this game knows, can get really complicated really quickly. So let's just set that up there. Let's try one more building, see what this looks like over here. Yeah, so that's exactly kind of what we expected. Let's pull that back, maybe scooch it over just a little bit, and add another point. Pull in cargo trucks, remove it from that original spawn point. Let's scooch over here and come in here. There we go. And you'll also notice one other thing that we haven't really messed around too much with is the angle. You can turn how they actually come into the building, right? So we could theoretically move this all the way around to a different side of the building if we wanted to. Just a huge amount of flexibility with this tool. Tremendous shout out to the mod author. If you're interested in seeing a few more use cases for this tool, Yumble just came out with a great tutorial, so you can check out. I'll link it right here. But really, really powerful tool here, and something that'll be super helpful as we really kind of expand. Oh, whoops. Apply that everywhere. Boom. Something that'll be really helpful as we kind of continue to expand our industry space. So speaking of which, I think we do have some metals that have been hopefully dropped off. There we go. Metals right there. So that's great to see. We are starting to get our ore products in here, but let's look at this last new factory that we unlocked. We unlocked the glass manufacturing plant, right? So let's put in one of those. I think that's going to fit perfectly right along here. Do we want to set it up here? Or I actually think let's take one more industry road and run right behind here. Actually break that up just a little bit. Let's put it in facing that direction. I think that's how we want that to work. And then we can kind of come down. Let's get rid of that road too, actually. Now that I'm looking at it, I think we want to set this up so that the road runs directly behind, kind of like this. There we go. All right. We might have to get a little bit tricky with how these roads work. There we go. And then bring this road right in here. I have to get a little anarchical here, but it's going to work out just fine. Awesome. Okay, so now it needs some construction here, and right away, let's go here. And then, yeah, see, it's nowhere close, right? So let's add another point here. And we're going to take our cargo truck off there. We're going to add it over here. And then now it's in that Z position. Let's move it over here, scooch it over. Now it's going to be using the door where it ought to be. Really cool stuff. Okay, so now that we're building a few of these things, we are almost done with the session. We have a few other housekeeping things that we want to do, but I just wanted to kind of come over here, talk a little bit about what else we want to do with this space, because we're talking about the industry space, but we're actually going to move a lot of our industry over here relatively shortly, right? So in the next episode, I think we just have to address this huge residential demand. So I think we're going to focus on kind of our urban core over here, right? That kind of stretches from here all the way down. I'm kind of seeing these docks as like the natural dividing point for our urban core, right? Where it's going to start blending into Old Town over here. So we're going to start working on establishing our grid system over here, and then we'll kind of bring that down through here and see what kind of large entertainment we can set up here. There's some really cool new assets as part of this latest creator pack. I haven't unlocked any of them, right? This Metro Plaza station is super cool, and we'd love to integrate that in. I think the old market station is also going to be really neat and fits with our old town, more kind of brick and mortar vibe here. But we need 14,000 residents or both of those. So we really need to get busy with getting some more residents into the city. The other thing that we want to do is work through kind of our old town over here. And I like the idea of putting some of our unique factory buildings over here. But it kind of brings up a little bit of an issue, right? Because if we look at our unique factory buildings, I think we have maybe one of them. Yeah, so we have this industry steel plant, right? Great. If you drop it down, this thing is huge. Look at how much space it takes up. And it looks really cool, right? I actually think this would fit really well in terms of our old town. It has this nice like brick and mortar smokestack style thing. I really like the design, but I can also acknowledge that if we want to put down all of these unique buildings, there's no way they're all going to fit over here in this old town. So I think what we want to do is potentially take some of this space that was originally designed for an airport and repurpose it for a larger industrial space, right? So when we look at this, clearly it was designed to be used as an airport. I think we actually take this part of the island and we turn it into just an industrial manufacturing center. What I like about that idea is that it gets all of that in one place, and this train line means that we can naturally bring in goods to this space that have already been developed in certain other areas of the city, like over here and even up in the mountains. So note that we will have to run a train line, I think, from this kind of manufacturing base all the way down here to get those goods down here, but that's totally doable, right? The second thing this lets us do is access the wharf over here, right? So we're going to have, I think, our nice kind of little, not commercial, but just kind of recreational wharf over on this side of town, closer to the city core. But we're going to have our more commercial, industrialized wharf over here. And I know we've debated before about, is this the right place for it, right? I think in looking at some other cities, what I've seen is that we tend to, as, just kind of humans, we tend to put our industrial wharfs not directly on the open ocean, right? You need a little bit of protection, whether or not it's a seawall or some sort of breakers, or even just kind of building a little bit more in a harbor instead. This is where we tend to build in cities, our harbors. We protect them a little bit. So what I would propose is actually extending out either a peninsula here or a full-on island, and kind of reclaiming some of the sea land and pushing our airport out there. So I know that City Planner Plays has already done a really nifty airport island, and I'm by no means trying to steal his idea. I think it's just the reality of looking at how much flat land we have and how we want to spend it, right? So I think we can come up with something really cool in terms of still preserving the character of this space and figuring out a great airport that we can build out here. And what I really like about doing that is it keeps our industry close to the different flow of goods in and out of the city, right? So if we have a cargo harbor over here and a cargo airport over here, that's going to let us not only get our finished goods out of the city, but also get goods into the city. And that's the other part of what I think we need to talk about is the actual industries that we want to invest in, right? So if you played the game before and you've dealt with the industries, you know that these unique factories typically require products from more than one industry, right? So right now, we only have the one industry. We have our mining industry, right? But I think in the very near future, we're going to want to set up a forest industry to get some lumber that we're going to need for our unique factories, or set up a farming industry to get some unique animal products for our industries. And we have plenty of space to do that. I think especially down here would be great for our animal industry. Potentially over here, we could do some lumber. So we have a ton of great options, right? But the one industry that I haven't mentioned is oil. And I kind of get back to what we've originally talked about in terms of what we want the city to be. And we've really focused on being sustainable and not polluting in that way. And I acknowledge that we put a mining industry in. It's pretty challenging to get around the idea that the city is going to pollute at all. And by no means do I think that we can get by without oil if we want to build these unique factory products. So the oil has to come from somewhere, right? But what I think would be consistent within the game structure and also provide us a bit of challenge would be if we say we are only going to import oil, right? So let's say we are not going to build an oil industry, but we will import the oil that we need for our advanced factory products, right? So what that means is that we need to have a very robust import system with our cargo airports, our cargo train terminals, and our cargo harbors, right? That we can then bring oil into the city here to manufacture more advanced products that we then export out of the city. So we need a really good logistics hub, and I'm thinking this island is the place to do that. So we're going to focus our logistics here very, very shortly. But next episode, really focus, I think, on nailing down our grid system over here so that we can unlock our public transportation hubs and start working through this whole island and get our transportation hubs there. So if you have any ideas for how you think the transportation in this city should flow, or any kind of good ideas about, kind of grid structure, I've been looking through a few ideas. So I have a few options that I think we can test out and see what's going to be the best fit for our city. Also keep in mind how we really may have changed the game too with this new ability to set spawn points here. So, something I've seen again in that Yumble video, he did a really cool video example where you could actually have roads running behind, commercial centers here. Like if you're looking at any of your big box retailers, right? You could run a commercial line behind those retailers that hooks up to their shipping and loading docks right behind them. And all of a sudden you're going to dramatically change how the traffic flows through your city. So if you have any idea for grid systems with like back alleys for good deliveries and things like that, I think that could be a really, really interesting system to check out, and definitely something that's changing the game. So let me know what your thoughts are, and we will come back after this mini episode to definitely dive in a little bit more detail for the next episode. So with that, I think we can wrap it up, and we're going to close out looking at our mining industry. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.